Blessings and welcome. My name is Rebekah, and this is my report for Pillars of the Moon for the upcoming solar eclipse new moon cycle that is beginning tomorrow on the 2nd of October. So, welcome everyone. What a wild and crazy and chaotic energy we've been experiencing globally. Since the last lunar eclipse in Pisces, we've seen so many floodings and storms and very destructive energy. And yes, I just want to take a moment before we begin to just send love and healing to all those people who are, without power, without electricity and water at the moment. Just, yeah, sending you so much love at these times and all over the world, with all the conflict we're really feeling, a lot already. And the solar eclipse is coming tomorrow, and the next lunar cycle, there's a lot. It's big, so I'm going to jump into my overview to share with you as we begin. So we have our new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. That is tomorrow, the 2nd of the 10th at 1949. This is the GMT time zone. The eclipse will start tomorrow at 1641, and then it will be at its fullest at 1945, and it will end at 2247. So that's quite a long time for the eclipse to be happening. So tomorrow afternoon and evening, is when the eclipse is happening for us in the UK. So yeah, really taking care in those times, really trying to keep things simple, just to really just stay safe, everyone, as much as we can. And then we have Jupiter will be going retrograde on the 9th of October in the constellation Taurus. So that's going to be a really big shift. And then our first quarter moon will be in Sagittarius with the goddess Ceres, the dwarf planet, on the 10th of the 10th at 1955. And Ceres is actually in square to our nodes at the moment, so in a T-square. So she's having a really big part to play in all of these eclipses because she has been in square to the nodes. So, there's been a lot of conversations around Ceres and who she is and what she represents, and the influence that she is having over these eclipses that we're in. Pluto will then station direct 2 days after the first quarter moon, and we'll be starting to move forward again at 12th of October. Then we have our full moon in Pisces, and now this will be conjunct Eris, dwarf planet Eris, of discord and chaos, and yeah, and then also with Chiron as well, so the wounded healer. This is also known as our hunter's moon, so really connected to the hunter, Orion, and also Artemis as well, of the hunt. So connected to the deer energy, and also will be a very bright super moon as well in the sky. One of the brightest of the year, I've heard. If the rain stops for long enough, we might get to see it. And so we've got a watery second half of this cycle. So the last quarter moon will be in Cancer on the 24th of the 10th at 9:03. And we'll be quite close to Mars, who is still in Gemini at that point. And Mars, it will be in square as well at that point to the nodes, I think. I'll have to double check. But around the time of the full moon, there's a really strong Grand Cross energy, which is involving the full moon, Eris, Chiron, in opposition to all of this stellium in Virgo, in square to Ceres and Mars, and Pluto is opposite Mars. It's just like a really intense cycle, to say the least. So, yes, then the sun will move into Libra on the 1st of November. We have our new moon, and that will be the 1st of the 11th, so 111. and Libra, the sun and the moon will be at 1 degrees of Libra. So we've got 1, 1, 1, 1. So it feels like a new beginning coming. And then we'll have our astronomical Samhain. That's the cross quarter day between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice, which will be on the 6th of November this year. So we're feeling that energy here going into the dark, feeling this energy of the descent into the darker part of the year. And it's definitely bringing its challenges and big transformations and shifts. So I'm going to stop sharing that one with you now, and let's go into Stellarium, the live sky. So those of you who've been following my channel for a while will know that I use astronomy for my astrology because I study the stars and the planets as they are in the sky right now. So if you resonate, if you like it, please do follow and subscribe for more. Obviously, in Western astrology, we've got the sun and moon coming up in Libra. So just to show you, this is the live sky. This is constellation Virgo. Here you can see. She is huge. She takes up a really large portion of the sky. And this is constellation Libra. So you can see that Venus is moving into the stars of Libra now, into her home stars. And yeah, the moon, sun, Mercury will all be in constellation Virgo for the time of the eclipse. So if you want to align to the way things really are, it's really good to look at the live sky to see where the planets really are and the moon really is in relation to the stars. I'm just going to check the time. So the solar eclipse will be the 2nd of the 10th at 1949. So yeah, we're pretty much bang on there. So as I'm speaking now, today is Tuesday, the 1st of October, and Mercury is in cazimi with the sun, which means Mercury is conjunct the sun. It's having its crossing over of the sun's energy. So this is a real transformative time for Mercury, but can also be bringing up lots around the Mercury energy. So themes to do with communication, networking, intellect, our mind, the way that we communicate and network with others, also overthinking or analyzing things, all of these kind of mercurial kind of aspects. When they're going through the light of the sun, they're having like this purging or cleansing energy from the sun, really having like a reset or a rebirth for Mercury. So by the time we get to the new moon solar eclipse, which is the next day from today, Mercury has just crossed over the sun, still really close, so still in conjunction to the sun. We'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. And the moon here. So this is the eclipse. And we have got, we're on the south node. So we're at the tail of the dragon. And the south node is really about, karmic life. It's a karmic past life point, and when we're moving through this as a collective, it's like the tail of the dragon. So it's all of the weight of the past, all of the baggage, all of the patterns of the past. And it really is, I feel like collectively it's about, because the solar eclipse, it's bringing like a shift and maybe completion and endings of this karmic past life stuff that we may have been dragging around on our tail for lifetimes. So it's a cosmic destiny point. We are all, no matter where we are in the world, we have our, the ways that we're being challenged right now. We are having to really look at the hidden. The black moon Lilith is also really close to this eclipse as well. And so she's bringing a really shadowy, dark aspect to things. And I feel like there's like an energy of having to really own our dark side, and also, feelings of the dark, like anger and these kind of rage or these kind of, it can be very manipulative. This is all our dragon's tail, it's all of that fear and and the collective subconscious, all of the hidden things. And it feels like with the Virgo energy, like, because I really connect Virgo to the harvest. You know, when we look at the constellation of Virgo, she's harvesting the wheat. And this solar eclipse energy is going to be really aligned with a star called Vindimiatrix. This star is renowned for mischief, for destruction. It's known as the Black Widow. You know, the Black Widow spider, if it bites you, you could die. You know, so there is a connection to the spider. There is a connection to the death, like the widow, like the husband that dies. It's a connection to all of these abandonment stuff. And also, like Vindimiatrix star, what that actually means, what the word Vindimiatrix is, it's the harvestress, harvester of the grapes. So it's the priestess or the woman who would harvest the grapes. And this is her right hand, you know, so her right hand is her doing hand. So she's doing things. And what does she make from the grapes? You know, it's the wine. So it's connected to, you know, creating wine, alcohol, you know, and that could be bringing up themes around, you know, addictions and that destructive energy that is creating something from the death, if you know what I mean. Like, and so when we're moving through this cycle, there's going to be a shift of energy where, so Pallas Athena, the asteroid, let's go see her. So Pallas Athena is currently kind of right. Oh, she's gone now. Come back. Pallas Athena, you know, she is really like, I feel like all of the asteroids and Ceres, the dwarf planet, especially, all connected to the Virgo energy. And I really get a sense of like Virgo being reflective of the feminine, the priestess, the goddess, and all of her faces. You know, Virgo is so large, you know, and we quite often get two moon cycles or lunar cycles in when, you know, the sun is in Virgo, because it takes the sun a long time to come through the stars of Virgo because it takes up such a large portion of the ecliptic. So Pallas Athena being one of the, I'm going to say it, one of the rulers of Virgo, or connected to Virgo because it's a goddess asteroid. You know, she is all about strategies and digging deep. And at the moment, she's coming in, like you can see that she's quite above the ecliptic belt. So she's right close to Ophiuchus here in the Ophiuchus constellation. But, you know, she's in alignment with Scorpio as well. So where she is in the sky, she is really wanting us to dig deep because she's all about strategy. She's all about recognizing patterns. She's very logical. She's super intuitive and psychic, you know, so she can investigate, dig deep, and get to the bottom of stuff where she is here. You know, so going through this cycle, she's going to move further into the Ophiuchus constellation. So this will be about her creating medicine from all that gunk. Well, it could be, if you think about it, as the grapes, the harvesting of the grapes, or the harvesting of the herbs and the plants at this time of year of the harvest, to create medicine, to create healing that's organic and natural, which is the Ophiuchian energy. You know, it is the doctor, the pharmaceuticalist, but in a more organic, plant-based way. So the energy of Pallas, you know, and this place that she is in the constellation of Ophiuchus and Scorpio, you know, she really is about the death that comes, you know, from the destruction and the breaking down of the old and the digging into the hidden and the shadowy, looking at all the abuse of power relating to Virgo, you know, which Virgo was, you know, I believe that the asteroids and the goddess asteroids are all connected to Virgo, you know, so there's a karma, a collective karma connected to things that are hidden relating to Virgo and perhaps the destruction of the feminine, the priestess energy, the energy of the land and the earth and the physical, the all of the things that Virgo represents, the goddess of the harvest and the earth. This is kind of the energy of the witch, and the midwife and the herbalist, so, not too many hundreds of years ago, all the witches got burnt for these very things, which are all connected to this South Node, the South Node in Virgo, and all of the witch burnings and all of the death and the destruction that came. And I feel like this solar eclipse is really shining a light on our collective karma connected to the goddess, connected to, all that was broken and all that was burned, to sabotage or hide the power that lives here in these stars of Virgo. So some of you know as well about, I mentioned last time about this comet. I'm just going to call it Atlas, but its full name is C/stroke 2023 A3 Shum Chinshan Atlas. That's why I just call it Atlas, because it's like easier to then say in the whole thing. But we will hopefully be able to see this comet, and this is a really rare comet, and it's coming like just after, during this cycle, we're going to be hopefully be able to view it. And I'll share some more information about that separately to this report. And what this comet that's coming from right on the outside of our solar system, it's coming from the void, from the dark, from the outer regions, and it's bringing information in like a flash of cosmic awakening and light. And it's like really saying, look, this is our karma, this is what we're really being asked to look at. And the waters that are coming, it's like flooding, and the waters are cleaning and purging. And we hear of all these stories of the great floods, the great floods that came, that washed away like old worlds even. So perhaps all the waters that are coming, and with this full moon in Pisces that we're going to be having on the 17th, it's like conjunct Chiron and Aries. There's a collective karma from all of our collective combined past lives, that's coming up to the surface, and so eclipses always bring shifts, they bring endings, they take things away, that, bringing up stuff from the past, all of this stuff's getting pushed up to the surface. And it can be really, really difficult. It can be really hard to witness, especially collectively when we're seeing so much destruction in the earth, and but I really want to connect us back to our root, our own root, to really feel this energy as a creative force. This is the Kundalini, the tail of the serpent, the tail of the dragon. This is where our energy is. This is where our power is. But I do feel with Mercury here, we could be going into our survival brain, fight, flight, freeze. We could be going into trauma responses. So the brain, Mercury, and when we're in this trigger of the primal brain, our reptilian brain, that energy that, it's like we go nuts. It's like there's like when you go into fight, flight, freeze, often, you can't even, you've just gone into survival. It's like a lion's going to come and eat you, and like, and so what do you do, when you meet that, when we meet that, what are our tools, when we are in the floods, in the lava, in the, in our own pain, in our own trauma, and feeling the collective trauma too, and all of this stuff that is moving. It's like with Black Moon Lilith here as well, and connected to Vindimiatrix, we could be looking at death and destruction and the Black Widow, and that kind of meeting with her. And, this star has, she's got a reputation. I also feel like there is magic here. There are gifts here, just like, there's gifts in all that we're harvesting. And I also connect Virgo to Demeter, the harvest mother, which I connect to Ceres, dwarf planet, who's the moon is going to meet with at its first quarter. So there's, in the story, you know, Demeter's saying, says goodbye to her daughter. She's taken into the underworld by Pluto. And Pluto will be going direct this cycle as well. So we've got strong energy with Pluto. And so the grief, you know, that Virgo, Demeter, the harvest mother feels, you know, is like the grief of the widow. It's the grief of the mother who has lost her child. It's bringing all of that feeling, that sadness. It could feel depressive even, up to the surface, to really, you know, bring it up. We could be, Virgo also, you know, governs health and well-being and how we, you know, take care of ourselves, which is also Ceres, you know, so the planet Ceres. So there's kind of this energy of, you know, we could be having health stuff going on. We could be in pain. We could be feeling pain in our back, you know, to do with our past. We could be like experiencing, you know, with Mercury stuff with our voice, with our throat, how we communicate. We could have headaches. We could feel like disorientated in our head. Lots of these things could be coming up, but the body is often reflecting the inner process or the emotional stuff that is coming up for us to look at. So when we're really faced with our dark side, our dragon's tail, you know, how can we have presence for that and come back to our humanity? You know, we are all humans here. You know, so the root, the tail, is the physical. It's here on the earth. You know, and how can we, you know, when we take away, when things are taken away, we come back to our humanity, what connects us. And, you know, Virgo being connected to the weaver as well, and the spider goddess, and the webs that connect everything. And I feel like the magic of Virgo and the gifts of Vindimiatrix, it's like in every ending weaves way for a new beginning, you know, and all that is being woven through the endings of the old, and how perhaps it's bringing us back to that which connects us, you know, back to our humanity, back to, yeah, our human, the one that cries and sobs and screams and yells, and the one that goes into fight, flight, freeze, you know, it's like meeting our human to human and finding compassion for one another wherever we're at. And like I've been feeling like today, I went to the local market and just the humanness and the love and the connections that are made with people, you know, and you know, the little things we do for one another, you know, giving someone your parking ticket because you've got more time on it. And, you know, I did that the other day. I gave someone my parking ticket. I said, hey, I've got till, you know, 4 o'clock on there. And they was like, wow, thank you. And all these little things that we do, you know, to connect us, you know, and this is healing. This is so healing for us as a collective, and it unites us, you know, and there is a unity in our humanness, that we are all connected. Full moon in Pisces, we are all in the same ocean, you know, and there's a lot, you know, that's coming up that we are having to meet. And yeah, it feels like about owning it together, and finding that there's power in that too. There's power in that shadow. There's power in that root, you know, and we really have to, wow, yeah, there's like an energy of calling it forth to witness it so that it can be loved, you know, so that we can then befriend the beast, as I like to call it. And that brings more wholeness, you know, it's then that we can ride our dragon rather than having big bricks on our tail pulling us down. But it's like learning to work with that power, which is our Kundalini, which comes from our root, our base chakra, which is where it all starts. You know, so we want to fly, we need to learn about our root. You know, then that's the basis of, you know, the grounding, and being connected to the body, you know, and all of its physical ailments and things. And so there's a lot that can be gathered around this new moon. There's a lot that can be harvested and drawn in to really witness, what we are harvesting from our past, and how we can come together as humanity. And in the coming together, it's really bringing us back to that collective oneness, that collective heart, that we are all beating in this frequency together. Our hearts are all beating to the beat of the earth, to the beat of the universe. And it's all, we are all so connected. So I feel like my beautiful daughter, she's a Virgo. And when I was pregnant with her, because I'm a Pisces sun, she's a Virgo sun. So we have this opposite thing, balancing each other out. And I was doing lots of journaling. That's another thing, with this Mercury energy, like writing, poetry, anything with the hands and words, and poetry writing, like getting things down in a creative way could be really healing for us. Channeling. What I was doing when my daughter was in my womb, I was writing a lot about Virgo and Pisces, and how Virgo brings order to the chaos of Pisces, and that's how it balances it out. It's like she's like the weaver. And I saw, like, the ancient weavers that would weave tapestries, and they would go into like trance. Like, it's like the Virgo energy is like she's creating patterns, just like a spider would weave the cosmic order. She is finding patterns in the universe and bringing it in to physical form. She's a creatrix, and so, and she knows about the spiral, and that wheel is always turning, right? So, and she's constantly rethreading it. And sometimes, things in the web end, and new web is woven in, and so the old tapestry is falling away, and a new tapestry is always being woven. So I really feel like the Virgo energy is so powerful. She is weaving the world into creation, and I really do recognize that here, and the great power of this constellation, and how, all the asteroids and the asteroid belt are all connected to the goddess, which is all connected to Virgo. So I'm really wanting to, really bring that awareness home, and how we can weave, just like the weaver, our reality. We can create tapestries together. And when we put our energy together, how much we can weave. We can weave whole new worlds together. That is the power of Virgo. So there we go. So I'm going to jump over to the chart, because I was getting really, really cosmic there, which is okay, but yeah, so I wanted to talk about the chart. So we have got the stellium in Virgo. Stellium is when, that there's a line of planets all together, planets, asteroids and things. So we've got the south node, which I was just talking about, our collective karma and past life. And obviously then we have the moon, 15 degrees, the sun, 15 degrees. We have black moon Lilith at 16 degrees, Mercury at 17 degrees, and Juno just a bit further along at 24 degrees of Virgo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a big energy in Virgo. And as I was sharing, the black moon so close to the sun, the new moon and Mercury, it could be bringing a lot of shadowy aspects to this new moon. And it feels like lots of stuff that's hidden. Also feel with Lilith conjunct Mercury, we could be looking at kind of manipulation, like gossiping, being spiteful. And we all have the capacity to do that inside of us, right? We're not all kind of like, love and light. Like we all have a shadow, you know. So this new moon, I feel like, is really about owning that darkness, like I said already, and yeah, owning our power actually, because the darkness holds a great power. And so when we look at Pluto, Pluto is at the time of the new moon, he's still retrograde, but he's about to go direct, you know, the next week. So he's right at the end of his retrograde here at the end of Sagittarius at 33 degrees. And so if we look here, Pluto is trining the South Node. So that is a really powerful energy, and you know that he is also in trine to Uranus over in Taurus too. So that is bringing like an element of a real upheaval, I think, around the physical, around the Virgo energy. It's bringing change. It's bringing huge shifts and awakenings through the endings of things, and really like shifting the past life stuff. So it's like there's a real kind of need to recognize the patterns of the past. And, you know, we have Pallas Athena, who I was talking about in Scorpio, in sextile here. So this is incredible placement for her, because the Scorpio energy is really connected to, you know, the dark and the depths, very good at psychology, uncovering secrets, investigating, because not only is she very logical and good at recognizing patterns, she's also really good at digging deep and finding the secrets and the truths that have been, you know, buried or swept under the carpet. Like, so she has got this energy of like, let's pull it all out and let's look at the patterns in it. And then from there, you know, that's when she's moving into a focus and like, right now I can make medicine from this. You know, so how do we make medicine from all that's been hidden? You know, so this is the journey of Pallas Athena at the moment, in sextile to all of this Virgo energy. You know, like she is bringing a lot. And then we have Ceres, you know, who is in Sagittarius. Ceres is, you know, also connected to the mother Demeter, the harvest mother. You know, even her symbol, the symbol of Ceres is like a oh God, what's it called? Oh, I've forgotten what it's called. You know, the reaper, like the one that's like cutting the old away. It's like the energy of the harvesting. So also connected to Virgo. So Ceres is in square to the solar eclipse, new moon, Mercury, and all of that gang there. And so she's also in square to opposite Mars, who's in Gemini. And then, you know, around in this cycle, the opposition between Pluto and Mars will come into exact as well. And I feel like this energy of Mars and Pluto opposite each other is bringing a lot of chaos. It's bringing a lot of eruptions, carnage. You know, it's like it's fucking carnage like out there. It really is. And it's also carnage in here. And it's like it's turbulence. It's like unexpected kind of eruptions. It's really making us face our shadows. And I feel like Mars here in Gemini is very fast paced and wanting to, you know, be a voice, be a voice for all of that dark, be a voice for be a voice for the collective, because Mars is also in a trine aspect, in a grand trine actually, with Saturn in Aquarius and Venus, who's in Libra. So there is a grand air trine between Saturn, Venus, and Mars. So this is an energy that's working in harmony to create harmony for our collective. So Saturn in Aquarius in retrograde is really wanting to create structures that support everyone. And in trine to Mars and Venus, this is about Venus in Libra is very diplomatic, wants to create harmony and balance, wants to, resolve conflict. And Mars in Gemini is like working with Saturn and Venus to be like, I am that voice, for the collective balance, for the collective diplomacy, for the collective justice. So there's a real warrior energy here who wants to speak up, so she wants to stand up for what is right, what is just, what is balanced for all of us, and so in opposition to Pluto, it's like, it could be bringing up a lot of conflict, within ourselves, within our community, within the world, which could bring like eruptiveness and explosive kind of, you know, shit. Really big energy this time. So what else did I want to share about? I feel like the Ceres energy, I want to return to that because that was the thread I was on before, who's in square, you know, and also the energy of Pallas Athena and Scorpio, is really wanting us to dig deep into our past and look at ways, that perhaps we have been abused or abandoned or neglected, the ways that we neglect ourselves, the ways that we abandon ourselves, why we believe the things we believe, Sagittarius, around care and support, so we may be feeling really unsupported, in that energy. And I feel like she's being in square to this moon and square to Mars. It's a real challenge, of like, it feels like collective imbalance, around, the way that we look after ourselves and our health. And, we're seeing it so much in the collective that we're really having to take care. We're having to care for ourselves, care for each other like never before, and coming back to the root of it, coming back to our humanness, to, this human experience on the earth, and how we can relate to one another, Saturn, Venus, and Mars, like really coming together as community, the masculine and the feminine. And Saturn, want to create structures of unity, of balance, of harmony, but it's a lot of work because there's a lot of shadows that really, with Pluto in opposition to Mars, that are fighting against that, so there might be deep-seated beliefs which come from our collective past and our karma and our trauma that prevent us from being in harmony, and so with the energy of Mars also being in square to Chiron, who's in square to Ceres, maybe. Or the North Node is square to Ceres, my apologies. So yeah, so like there's an energy of like our North Node is where our lunar eclipse was, and that's our destiny point. That's where we're going, and with Chiron and Eris there as well. It's like, it really is, there's so much healing that is required of us as a collective, dropping back into the South Node, our collective karma associated with Virgo, and servitude, being, because Virgo originally, was a woman who wasn't wedded, who was sovereign to herself, and how much has that been morphed into something else, and how much, all the temples of Isis and all in Egypt that were destroyed, and the way that the serpent priestess of Fucus, was taken out of the wheel, and all the witches were burnt, and you all know the stories and the histories around that. So I feel like there's a lot that's being really, and the way that, you know, the goddess has been, you know, the earth, the goddess as in the physical earth, Gaia, the land, and the way that collectively she has been treated, you know. So it's all coming up to the surface, I feel, around this new moon. And this eclipse cycle that we're in, you know, we've got Jupiter going retrograde, we've got Pluto going direct. They're two big players, big planets that cause a lot of energy. You know, well, obviously Pluto is very small, but his energy is huge, right? So yeah, so I feel like this cycle in particular is bringing huge shifts. It's going to bring a lot up to the surface, and it could make us feel very uncomfortable, because until we acknowledge our shadow, till we acknowledge the past and the trauma and all that has been, you know, we can't heal. If we are dismissing, bypassing, love and lighting it, you know, it's like that part of us that is raging will always have a hidden power unless we bring it up and through, you know. So it's kind of like then we can't move towards our collective destiny, which is healing, until we really face the shadow. And it's in facing the shadow that we can then become our power, you know, because the shadow is not all that bad, you know. It's not like, it's around like, you know, the part of us that gets really triggered is the part of us that will bring us home. It's the part of us that really needs our attention, and it's our inner child, you know, that, or our child from past lives, or our past life that's speaking to us through this trigger, through this moment of transformation. So yeah, this is a highly transformative energy. And so around the time of the solar eclipse tomorrow evening, you know, my plan is to stay at home, to take some lemon balm tea, which is very relaxing, and maybe some lavender bath with some Epsom salts. I'm trying to stay grounded. Just let this wave ride through. But I feel like when we're coming into the first quarter moon, you know, that's when just after Jupiter has gone retrograde. This will be a really big energy around the 10th of the 10th. And Mars is in square to Mercury and Black Moon Lilith, Juno. That would be really quite intense, which is in a T square. Yeah, with the moon, who'll be with Ceres. So all the stuff I was talking to you about around Ceres, you know, and how she's in square to the nodes, and it's all about how we feel supported, nurtured, cared for, abandoned, neglected, you know, all of that stuff. You know, this is what the cycle is building towards. So it's like the energy wants us to move towards that. You know, there may be a wanting to sweep it under the carpet. There may be a wanting to, you know, not dig deep and investigate the truth and the hidden. But there is a real urging from the planetary energies to maybe make us push us towards that kind of truth, the truth of within, you know. And by this point, you'll see Pallas Athena has now moved. Oh, hold on. She's now moved into a focus. And so we've gone from the digging deep. So maybe by the time we get to the first quarter moon, we might have some idea of the patterns of the past. We might have dug deep, and we can see the cycles and that which has been hidden. And now by the time we're going to find medicine from that and heal. And so there is a real opportunity, because the full moon will be with Chiron, which will be on the 17th. And also Eris is here as well. You know, so there is this whole cycle is really about healing. And so yeah, we can expect water, unfortunately, and that could be waters from our tears, or, you know, water from the rain and the storms. But there's an aspect of healing through water that is coming, you know, this full moon. So this whole cycle is building towards that. So going back to the first quarter moon, you know, when we've got the first quarter moon with Ceres, you know, it's knowing that we're going towards Pisces over here. You know, the energy is really about boundaries. It's about truth. It's about care, support, nurturing. And so this is all going to be coming up to our attention. The energy's building. And then coming around to the full moon, you know, that's when they will all come up to the surface, and hopefully we can have a chance to do some really big healing, you know, through this whole cycle, which is incredibly powerful, incredibly discomfortable, uncomfortable, I should say. So Jupiter going retrograde, you know, is going to be going all the way back to Algol. And so he starts his retrograde in Taurus and will go all the way back to about where Uranus is now, actually, and then come forward again. So it's like the Jupiter energy has to go and retrieve something from the goddess, from Algol, you know, so there might be some healing that needs to be done here, you know, around the Jupiter energy is returning to Algol, returning to the serpent priestess Medusa, you know, to reconcile his wrongs. And yeah, so at the time of the first quarter moon, Uranus at 2 degrees of Taurus will be in grand trine to Pluto in Sagittarius, who's still retrograde at that time, and the South Node here in Virgo. Boom, boom, boom. So, you know, we've still got this South Node theme. It's like we have to look at the past and the karma and the baggage. And, you know, we could be feeling like health stuff coming up, you know, really around care. Maybe we're being urged to take care of ourselves a little bit better, do things a little bit different, you know, and really find that self-care, you know, and what is true for me, Ceres and the moon, you know, do I truly take care of myself? And do we, you know, take care of each other, you know, and maybe our boundaries may be tested as well, you know, like people maybe keep asking us to do things, and we have to keep asserting our boundaries. So this could be a really testing cycle around that, you know, so we may be experiencing that too. The full moon in Pisces, I'm going to come back and do another chart on that. So I'm not going to go, not another video, sorry, on that. So I'm not going to go any deeper into the full moon chart, but just to say that the moon will be conjunct Chiron in Pisces, in the late degrees of Pisces, and Eris, the dwarf planet Eris, will be here too, but she's not in my chart. And the full moon will be opposing Black Moon Lilith, Juno, Sun, Mercury, who are all still in Virgo. We've moved away from the South Node now. And then the last quarter moon, like I shared, will be in Cancer. So very watery end to the cycle. So this feels like the waning away of the cycle, you know, in opposition to Pluto, who has now gone direct. You can see now gone direct. So still in this grand trine aspect with the South Node. Black Moon Lilith is there as well. Oh yeah, there's a beautiful macabre I've just noticed. 6-pointed star. I'm just going to draw it on here. Was it pretty? Yes. So anyway, I'll leave that for the next video. Just to quickly show you the new moon in Libra, which will be on the 1st of the 11th at 1 degree of Libra for the sun and the moon there. That'll be a whole other report after this. It's good to see the journey to come. So I'm going to stop sharing all of that now. I'm really sending you all so much love. And drink lots of water and try to stay nourished and take care of my body, and yeah, support those around who are in need as well as supporting myself. And yeah, we're really coming back to our collective unification. What is it that, where are the places that we meet? What is it that unifies us? What do we have in common? You know, and we all have a capacity to love, yeah, and to return to that love inside of ourselves. We could be, yeah, through all of this healing, you know, I really would love people to reach out, you know, reach out to people who can support them and hold them in those deep spaces, that we can be vulnerable with one another in our shadows and all that we're meeting with. And it's scary, you know, to be seen and witnessed in that really uncomfortable place in ourselves. But you know, when we can do that, when we can find the courage to do that, we can heal. And in sharing our journey, sharing our shadows and our pain and our trauma, you know, we might help somebody else to go, oh, maybe I can share that too. Maybe I don't have to carry that either, you know, and it ripples out. It ripples out and it creates change. So yeah, sending you all so much love for this new cycle. And yeah, I'll see you at the full moon. Many blessings.